Found us a place.
All right.
Let's see here. Big cheese and veggie sandwich with mushrooms. Fries. Extra large. 2 waters. Two coffees.
My mom put that there. For good luck. Thanks for the food.
No problem, Chief.
You called me Chief?
Yeah, why?
What happened to your eye?
I ran into somebody's fist.
You a gangster?
No, I wish. No, I was in computers. Computers and girls. What about you, Chief?
I'm interested in philosophy. Philosophy and girls.
There really shouldn't be Stellar Blade discourse, besides people talking about whether they like the game or not, appreciating Eve's beauty, the mods on PC, stuff like that. And that is and has been going on. But there's also the gaming press literally just mad that Eve is hot, and gamers are holding her up against the ugly, trans-friendly monstrosities that the West has been forcing down everyone's throat for the past however many years now.
Do your protocols require you to look me in the eye as you deny our request for reinforcements?
I am here as the Emperor's voice to command you to obedience. You will obey it.
These people literally can't review the game without being snide and dismissive, while insulting straight men for appreciating a beautiful woman with curves. They pretend it's a problem, like it's a moral issue for a man to find a woman attractive, when it's really just their political problem. Men finding women attractive is natural and normal. A woman is not sexualized because a man appreciates her looks. You cannot separate a woman, or a man for that matter, from a fellow human checking them out. Like I keep saying, women do not have sexual attraction imposed on them. They're not sexualized. Someone either finds them attractive or they don't. It's that simple. And these people, they know it's natural, which is why they say things like objectified, sexualized, to try and shame men, or at least try to get the establishment to control how women are portrayed in media by convincing weak, feckless men like Neil Druckmann to take up their feminist cause and act like a woman's self-esteem should be centered in a male-dominated hobby. I don't read game reviews unless it's for culture war related stuff. I've long stopped caring what the gaming press thinks when it comes to games I'm interested in. But it is useful to demonstrate why gamers feel the way we do about the gaming press. Why so many of them are losing their jobs. Because they're not fellow gamers. They don't see themselves as fellow gamers. They don't talk to gamers. They're talking to each other and to people who hate gamers. Not because they care about games, but because they've identified gamers as their political enemies. Like I always say, they love to say that gaming is for everyone, but they all talk about how much they hate gamers. And anytime a game gets hyped by gamers, they start crashing out, complaining, and they always do it in terms of shit that has nothing to do with the game. Black Myth Wukong, the studio is sexist. Even if that were true, who gives a shit? I don't play a game worrying about whether or not a dev is sexist or not. It's such a meaningless term anyway. Their idea of sexist just means women need to be a part of everything whether they're needed or not. Another thing I always say when it comes to this shit notion that making more female leads and making them ugly is to make female players feel better about themselves when they're playing a game is women don't need to play games they don't feel good about. If Eve is too sexy, fine. Don't play the game. That's it. Gaming doesn't need insecure women or man-hating women in order to turn a profit. And yet, everything is framed through the eyes of some miserable feminist. They can't review Stellar Blade without complaining about Eve's sexiness, even when they're trying to sound objective. And a review can't be 100% objective. But it shouldn't be biased. Certainly not politically biased when gaming is a hobby. And if you're there to complain about what people like in the hobby, that's fine. But no one should be putting their opinions over the interests of the actual gamers. But even when they're trying to act like they're giving the game a fair shot, they have to do shit like this. And this is from PC Gamer's Review. Stellar Blade Review. Not my favorite rendition of sexy, souped-up soldier saving humankind. Now listen, I've been in these trenches before. I've been playing Shift Up's other title, Nike, Goddess of Victory, since 2023. I am not new to the developer's particular brand of goonery. Just finding women attractive is goonery. If you are new to it, however, Stellar Blade has ass shots, jiggle physics, and barely their outfits out of the wazoo. Does the world or its characters ever acknowledge this fact? Bar one backstreet merchant, no. It's a bizarre juxtaposition in a game that so heavily sexualizes the undeniably glamorous Eve, despite being a wholly sexless personality existing in a sexless universe.
Get the fuck out of here.
It's not a bizarre juxtaposition at all. But this is the problem with activists, feminists in the gaming space. Eve being sexy and hot doesn't have to have an impact in the story at all. It's for the player. On the one hand, these assholes want everything made for men desexualized as if it's going to save someone's life. On the other, if a game like Stellar Blade features a sexy woman protagonist, they want the game to make a big deal about it in the story so that they can find another excuse to complain about the character's agency.
There was a lot of annoying culture war stuff around games in 2024.
Yeah, a lot of the talk revolved around women characters in games not being attractive anymore.
Yeah, and when I think about it, I have a very nuanced opinion on it, which is basically, who fucking cares? Have these people seen a woman up close before? What the fuck are we talking about, everybody?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man? Bro, I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.
I want that first love, you know, that first time. I want them first eyes, I want that first high. I want that first passion, I want them first hugs. I want them hard cries, I want that first love. I want that.
Eve looks like that for the player. That's it. It's not deeper than that. This is the problem with journos, though. They're not gamers. They're tourists imposing their expectations on a hobby that didn't need them, that doesn't need them, that attracted them like flies to honey. What is this you're doing? Why does she look like that? What's the point? I don't understand. Men should be subjecting her to harassment so that I can complain about unsolicited sexual comments to Eve and how she never does anything about it. Or maybe the reviewer wanted people to comment on her looks and have Eve lecture them or beat them up for sexualizing her. No one in The Last of Us 2 comments on Abby's appearance. No one goes, how in the hell did you get this goddamn swole? Are you eating more than your fair share? Where did you get the steroids from?
And steroids make my body balloon up, and they also give me the strength of 20 men.
So the thing about this review from this person, Molly Taylor, I don't know if this is a man or a woman, but the thing about this review is that even though the subtitle of the review is not my favorite rendition of sexy, souped-up soldier saving humankind, this person likes the game. If you read the review, the whole review, you'd think the score would be at least a 75, but probably more like an 80. She talks about how much she wants to play the game again and in New Game Plus, to collect all the nano suits and hairstyles and how she's really into that sort of thing. And I don't want to get into refuting or arguing against all of the things she says she doesn't like about the game. But because we know how game journals are, and because she complains about Eve being heavily sexualized, it is funny how, as other people have pointed out, she did this rave review about a game that makes her want to fuck her refrigerator.
It's not a compliment. It's weird. Weird.
So this isn't about the game. It's about the ideology. They can't help themselves to complain about men finding women attractive and talking about sexualization and objectification. And yet, this same person, this entity, as Kyle would say, is also praising another game that literally sexualizes actual objects. That's objectification.
Ew.
Stellar Blade has ass shots, jiggle physics, and barely their outfits out of the wazoo. Does the world or its characters ever acknowledge this fact? Bar one backstreet merchant, no. It's a bizarre juxtaposition in a game that so heavily sexualizes the undeniably glamorous Eve, despite being a wholly sexless personality existing in a sexless universe. This story is set in the middle of an apocalyptic society, and so far, I haven't played the whole thing. I actually have played about 40-something hours, but I lost 30 hours of gameplay when the game crashed and my save got wiped out. One thing I definitely hate about this fucking game is how they don't allow you to make manual saves. It's so stupid. I hate games that do that. Especially these fucking Souls-like games that wipe out your progress if you die or just keeps overriding your previous saves automatically. You should at least be able to do a manual save at a camp. But anyway, I'm still relatively early in the story, despite all these hours I put into it. But so far, everything that's happened has happened in the space of a day. And people are depressed and anxious, and most of them don't even trust Eve. And she's in the middle of a mission, so this idea that the game is sexless because nobody's bringing it up is asinine. And it's a perfect example of why this stupid feminist ideology has no place in gaming criticism. You could do that stuff for outsiders, but for the gaming community, nobody gives a shit about your weird views on sex and gender. You're imposing it on the game and using that to detract from the game's score. Now, she does have other complaints. In fact, Eve has very little personality at all. Now, this isn't true. And I think it's rich that a person who probably considers someone's gender identity a personality trait thinks that a reserved woman in the middle of a mission to save humanity has to, I don't know, she probably wanted Eve to act like Bayonetta or own her sexuality or some stupid shit. Or be like 2B or A2 the god and talk shit or something, I don't know. The thing about Eve, though, is she absolutely does have a personality. And it's not stoic like a man, or like how they turned Aloy from a charming, dryly humorous girl in the first game to a dull brick in the second game. It's more like a British aristocrat. She has something of a big sister energy in the way she deals with people. She's very forthright. And like one of the characters, and I think it's the one this reviewer mentions as the only one who comments on Eve's looks. It's the hard R lady. the R shop lady in the alley. She flirts and compliments Eve, and Eve is straight up mean to her. She doesn't like the compliments. She straight up tells the woman to stop talking about her looks, and the woman, I think her name is Roxy, is like, "You don't have much of a sense of humor, do you?" And the thing is, it's not that Eve doesn't have a sense of humor. It's that she doesn't like jokes. Like I said, she's very forthright to the point where she's much more patient and kind to people who are mean and straight up insulting than she is to people joking with her or complimenting her. To her, jokes are like a deflection or like a form of lying. They're saying what they're thinking, but they're acting like they don't mean it. It's like how she talks to Kaya, the junk dealer. And she's like, "You look like you have a problem. Just tell me what it is." You know, it's like Kaya is over here kikiing and all scary ass. You want something. What do you want? But yeah, and that's the thing. I don't know. It's just one of those things. She doesn't have this flamboyant, extroverted personality, but she absolutely has a personality, and it fits in context with the story. But anyway, she also talks about how the same is true of supporting cast Adam and Lily, who, despite me wanting to know more about them, never really offer up much information. Now, I'm not going to say, okay, look, so far the story is very simple and direct. It's pretty much a series of fetch quests at this point. And I'm not going to, attack somebody for wanting a better story, but in a sense, there is this thing where, look, this is a video game, alright? It's called Stellar Blade. It's an action-adventure game. As long as the story sets the table and gives you a reason to keep playing, that's fine. It doesn't have to be Nier Automata or BioShock 1. And even though it is clearly inspired by Nier. Not everybody is going to be able to reach those heights. And again, this is a game. Gameplay comes first. And the game has great gameplay. It looks great, has great music. It does so much right.
07531, pod landing complete. Removing physical shield. Opening hatch.
The hatch. Come on. Come on!
Eve, are you alright? This place is dangerous. Take my hand.
That if the story is quote-unquote its weakest link, and to me the story isn't bad, it's just serviceable, I don't think acting like that's such a huge con against the game is warranted, because I guarantee you, if Eve didn't look like this, these people wouldn't complain about the story. These assholes were praising Dragon Age the Veilguard while also stating that the story wasn't up to par with the previous games, and yet they still gave the game a 79. And Dragon Age as an RPG has much more need of a compelling story than a Souls-like action game. But it is subjective, and worrying about review scores isn't something I do because I don't care about reviews except to talk about them on the channel here. So it's just more to kind of point out how biased, how ideologically biased these journals are. We all know this, but it's just, I don't know, it's still good to point out.
That's a false. No, what I claimed... You just lied.
Even though this culture war stuff is fueled by activists who are unreasonable and dead set on not accepting reality, I still want these assholes to see that it's not just about every woman in gaming needing to look like Eve or 2B, but that when a game does have a character that looks like Eve or 2B, these journos complain as if their ideology, which has nothing to do with gamers or gaming, should matter and be a reason why the game is reviewed poorly or scored poorly. Because, like I said, overall, it's clear this person liked the game, and liked it enough to talk about how she can't wait to play more of it. Yet, PC Gamer was never going to let the game be scored at an 80, or even a 70. I feel like because of the IGN meme thing, they went, no. Give it a 68. I would say 69, but these incels will start thinking about sex again. But yeah, I just think it's funny how PC Gamer goes, PC Gamers got your back. Our experienced team dedicates many hours to every review to really get to the heart of what matters most to you.
Right.
The heart of what matters most to you. What matters most to gamers.
Sure.
Sure, Jan.
Without a doubt, there will be backlash because I'm not as bangable as the previous hosts. It's somehow...
Talk to him, Frost!
It has somehow been expected that you can talk about how much you jerked off to women as a compliment.
That
it's
shit weird.
not a compliment.
It's weird!
It's dehumanizing and it's weird. Women do not exist to be nice on the eyes for you. Morgan Webb, Olivia Munn did not exist to be nice on the eyes for you.
Hey, she cooking, y'all.
And that's just obvious sexism. You don't need to explicitly